And a couple in Saskatchewan are facing tens of thousands of dollars in U.S. medical bills. The husband suffered a massive stroke in Arizona, and even though he had insurance, his claim was denied because of a minor change in his medication. Now we get the story now from Pratyush Dea.
Arlene Lamotte is back home in Saskatchewan with her granddaughter by her side. But her husband Louis is in a Regina hospital and a huge medical bill has yet to arrive from the States.
Excuse me.
Arlene and Louis have been traveling south to Yuma, Arizona for 10 years. On February 3rd, he had a stroke. He was airlifted to Phoenix and the granddaughter Rebecca Fee drove down from Estevan.
Every day we were washing his face, putting a cold cloth on him. He could only use hand signals or nod his head yes or no.
2 weeks into his hospital stay, the couple was shocked to learn their insurance company Blue Cross had cancelled their coverage.
The reason for refusal of coverage was a 10 milligram cholesterol pill dosage change. It wasn't a prescription change, it was just a dosage change. Whether he was unaware of this or he forgot, we can't confirm that yet.
Fee says her grandpa disclosed a prior heart attack and lung disease on his application for travel insurance.
Oh, I'm just disgusted with them. I just think what they did is just absolutely unbelievable.
When it was time to medevac Louis back to Saskatchewan,
the only downfall was we had to come up with $56,000 Canadian to pay them up front before they would fly him home.
Saskatchewan Blue Cross says we remain confident in the handling of the Lamotte claim, but can't release details for privacy reasons. It says it's essential to ensure that you update your travel insurer when health circumstances change.
Fractions of a gram, that's a very tiny amount of medication, but nonetheless, what it signals to the insurance company might be something quite different than it signals to you and I, and that's why you've got to keep them in the loop.
The family is still waiting for a medical bill that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We can't send them big money every month, so they're just going to have to, take what we can afford each month. Then we'll have to pay it off, I guess, until we die.
Arlene says her last resort would be to sell their house. Pratyush Dea, CBC News, Saskatoon.
And for more on this, we reached Rebecca Fee in Estevan, Saskatchewan. And as we just saw, Rebecca, you are the granddaughter of Louis Lamotte. You are presently helping your grandparents pay those huge medical bills in the United States. Rebecca, take us back, though, to the moment when you found out that the insurance claim had been denied. What went through your mind?
Honestly, my grandma and I were in the hallway. We couldn't even breathe. We just started bawling. My grandpa's primary doctor walked past just as we got the news. He was just disgusted. He was outraged to have a doctor on our side and say those things and say the things we should be saying to Blue Cross in order to fight this. I mean, it meant the world to us. I was glad he stayed. He talked with us. He kind of helped us through it. We spent the next 6 hours on hold trying to appeal this decision and never got through to Blue Cross. We tried multiple days after that to get through to them. It wasn't until yesterday that I finally did.
And when you heard from them yesterday, what did they say to you?
They said they would find the right person for me to talk to appeal their decision. So I have yet to actually find that person.
And after all this happened, the hours on the phone, you finally hear from them. To hear that from them, what was your reaction when you heard that?
I was just disgusted. It's been 25 days since he had his stroke. It's been next to impossible to get a hold of them. I can't believe how hard it was, even for my grandma to originally file the claim when this happened.
Now, your family, we know, as you mentioned, this happened almost 25 days ago, but your family has not yet received the bill for the 24-day hospital stay in Arizona. How are you guys managing to keep up with the medical bills that have come out so far?
Basically, my husband and I were able to cover just over half of his medical flight home. It needed to be prepaid, as you heard. We've had other family members step up and help. We had to sell my grandma's fifth wheel and shed in Yuma, Arizona. They're snowbirds. This was their home for half the year. We had to sell that to help cover the expenses. We have $9,000 in hotel bills and fuel and food. It's just insane. It's absolutely disgusting that they denied this coverage, and we're just trying to stay afloat. And we're hoping that the hospital will take lower payments. They're 2 pensioners. My grandma's absolutely just broken. She's afraid.
I'm so sorry to hear that. That is so difficult. How is your grandfather doing right now?
He's very, very slowly getting a tiny bit better. He's still paralyzed on the left side. He still has his feeding tube, but he does have the breathing tube taken out now. So that's one step in the right direction. They finally had him sitting up in bed the other day. It required 2 nurses to hold him up, but it was very nice to see he can finally sit up. He's not just laying there sedated. It's going to be a very long road to recovery. We don't know if we're going to need to find a nursing home after this, if we're building wheelchair ramps, if we're making their home more accessible. She just didn't need hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills on top of everything else happening right now.
And just to outline those medical bills, I understand you had to pay around $56,000 to fly your granddad out of Phoenix to Regina. Talk us through that process.
So we got the initial phone call when we were informed that they wouldn't be covering the costs. They basically said, good luck, you're on your own. They told us we needed to find a hospital here in Saskatchewan to accept him. They told us we needed to find a medical flight to get him home. When we were calling the hospitals here, they basically said, no, that's not your job. We need a doctor from Phoenix to transfer him. We got the runaround for 3 solid days. Morning to night, we were walking miles and miles around the hospital, trying different departments, trying to phone people, trying to find help. And eventually on day 3, after finding out insurance wasn't going to help, we found a company called Angels of Flights out of Ontario, Canada. And they were just an absolute godsend. They took over everything. They received his medical files. They lined up his medical flight. They lined up the ground transportation. They lined up the bed in Saskatchewan. And although it was $56,000, every single penny of that was worth it for the help in that moment.
Now, we know, we've heard from Blue Cross, they released a statement and it reads this, take a look. They said it's critical that individuals understand what they are covered for and provide accurate medical information when purchasing coverage. It's equally essential to ensure that you update your travel insurer with and when health circumstances change. What was your reaction to that?
I was disgusted. He's a 72-year-old man. As Pratouche mentioned already, he was very honest. He admitted he had a heart attack. He admitted he had COPD, which is a lung disease. There's no reason why he would hide a 10 milligram cholesterol pill change. I don't know if he maybe forgot, if he even ever knew about it. Of course, we can't ask him that right now. But it's just so crazy.
And now that you are back in Canada, how are you planning to deal with all of this?
We are 2 hours from the hospital that he's staying in. I left my 3 kids behind at home for over 3 weeks to be down 6 states away from home to help my grandma. I'm hoping to take a couple days at home, but we have had some family that stopped in to help my grandpa. My husband and I helped my grandma get settled into her home yesterday. We unpacked all her belongings, picked up some groceries for her. She just needs a couple days to rest, and then we're going to be back on the road again to see him as much as we can.
Rebecca, thank you so much. We'll have to leave it there, but thank you for taking the time to share your family's story. That was Rebecca Fee. We reached her in Estevan, Saskatchewan.